offering a finger in the booty. Like,
No.
I mean,
Yeah,
she's ready to check your prostate there, Tyrone.
No,
Like,
no,
I'm concerned about your face. Pull your pants down.
Oh my god.
Yo, come on, man. Yo, wow. Why is that? Why is what's the thing in the booty thing?
We're on prostate
Checking your
cancer
prostate.
today. You
Oh,
know,
don't worry, man.
prostate
You
cancer
got a couple
awareness.
more years, and then you'll be experiencing the finger in the booty. So.
Hey, all right. Well,
in the butt.
All right, hold up. All right, if we're talking about colon cancer, I mean colon checks. I think I've had that. Why am I the only one?
On purpose?
You know what?
Are you sure you've had it?
Right?
I mean, that
On
would be
No,
one
not
thing
colon
that you should
cancer.
be sure
No,
about.
not colon cancer. No,
No,
I've
the
had
finger in the booty part.
Listen,
Oh,
that
my God.
I was gonna say that in the bedroom is different, bro. It's not like
Yo!
Before we jump into Loki, gentlemen, when you're 40 years old, make sure you get all your necessary exams. It's health is very important.
Wow. So okay, all right. You know what? I think we've gone live.
Yeah.
And
we're gonna reset this timeline and go back to the beginning and talk about what we can talk about.
Definitely blow this.
Where's the TVA?
there's something going on with
Yeah,
Ty.
we're variants.
Something's going on with Ty's account here. I'm trying to fix real quick, even as we're live. I think I fixed it. Okay, now we can go. All right, Ty, yours is up. I think Yaz's is up. And yeah, there we go. And we are 1, 2, 3 seconds away from being live on Yaz and Tyleen. And yes, ta-da-dow. This is the new Blerd Order. Pop up, bitches.
So Lisa, that's a lot of spoilers.
Oh, we have a fifth person. Oh my god.
Yeah, we have Tom Hiddleston, who is going to be joining us from the middle of the screen throughout the broadcast, because he was in Loki, which we saw yesterday. Full disclosure, because it's Thursday and we're not normally here anyway, this almost did not happen. This very much almost did not happen. I wasn't filling up the par. I got very much indecisive. Has anybody here watched that show? I think it's called A Good Place.
Yes,
with
yes, my
Kristen
wife
Bell.
loves it. My wife
And
loves it.
there's a dude named Chidi on there, and Chidi goes to heaven or hell, depending on how far you are in the series. And it's because he's so indecisive. Like, his sin is indecision. And I feel like I'm the Chidi in real life. Like, that's how I am in real life, man. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we were just having a nice little powwow, and Yaz is like, look, dog, you know what I'm saying? I got to do patience and all that, dog. And Tyler's like, look, whatever it is, I'm down. And Tyler was like, yo, fuck all that. Is the shit happening or not? And then we had our discussion, and we decided it's definitely happening, because it's really, we wanted to talk about Loki. If you didn't see Loki, if you don't know Loki, Loki, of course, is, as we know, the god of mischief. But I would just jump right into it, man. What y'all thought about it, bro? Because I definitely have my opinion. Tyrone.
Oh man, I absolutely loved it. I sat there just mouth wide open, jaw dropped, eyes wide. I was enjoying every second of it. I watched it twice already, so I'm ready to just dive in and tell you all the reasons you're wrong for not liking it.
All right. Fair enough. Yes. What's good, man? How you feel about it?
I fucking loved it, and I loved seeing our boy DeRusso in there. I was like a little fangirl. I was like, "Yo, that's fucking Russo!"
He killed it.
Yeah, he killed that shit. I was in awe at his performance, and the fact that he was literally on set and like literally talking to in the show like some awesome characters like Owen Wilson and the sister from, I can't remember her fucking name right now. From
Lovecraft Country. You talk about
Lovecraft Country, yeah.
Mm-hmm. We call her Hunter B15. That's Hunter B15 for the for the TVA.
Badass. What are you talking about? She like manhandled the fuck out of Loki. So I loved that shit. It was great. I thought it was fantastic.
Tyleen, man, what's good, man?
I mean, listen, I have to echo my cohorts' sentiments, because I said from the jump, I thought this was going to be the best Marvel series to date, and I'm still on board with that. There was a lot to unwrap, and I'm sure we're going to get into that. But just from the first episode, I definitely see where they're trying to go with it already. So.
Well, please tell me, because I'm a little all right. Look, all right. I'm not normally the skeptic. I consider myself to be one of the ones who's like, yo, I get it. I like it. But why didn't it grab me like I feel like it should have? I think it was a little depressing for me, because we started out the show with Loki as a god, being in prison, going on to wherever he was. And you ended the show with him basically, Owen Wilson is like Ayanla trying to fix his life. You know what I'm saying? Like sitting there talking to him like, so why do you want to do this? Oh, space god. Oh, okay, yes. The ruler of space. Right. And you know what I'm saying? And it just was like, what's going on? Like, when you hit somebody, will somebody fight? I got a little, I don't know. I got a little, I guess impatient. You know what I'm saying? Because I thought after watching, Falcon and Winter Soldier came out the gate and like hit you in the mouth with action like fuck.
But we knew that was going to happen, though.
And that's different. That. Yeah, that's a whole. First of all, we knew that was going to be an action based. Yeah,
my bad.
We knew it was going to be action based.
I mean, go ahead. What were you saying, Ty?
All I was saying is we knew it was going to be action based. We knew Winter Soldier and Falcon was going to be action based. One of the biggest things about Winter Soldier and Falcon was the budget. The budget that they spent on, on all of the different things to make it, as action packed as they possibly can. This I already knew was going to be more dramatic. One of the things about Tom is Tom has the ability to play both roles so well, where he's at one moment sinister and then the next he's very vulnerable. And I saw that throughout this whole this episode was basically him going from, the sinister, trying to take over the world Loki, to this vulnerable, young, almost infantile Loki version.
Yes. What were you saying?
I was just saying that, very similar to what Talene was saying, but from the gate that we automatically knew that Falcon and Winter Soldier was going to be action packed, that the budget was the highest budget that they had for a TV series, thus far, you know what I'm saying? So we already knew those things, and we were already prepared and ready for them. With Loki, we really didn't get anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's the god of mischief. So this could go one way, or it could completely go the other way, or maybe in the middle. And that's exactly what they're showing us right now, is like, things started out one way and they turned into something else. And now there might be something changing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's what I guess the crazy chaos is like what to expect. So I'm in awe that you're like, I just want to see the action. Like, that's not what Loki is about. That's not that's not what his character is like. It showcases his character is about mischief. He's about being, completely, he deceives the fuck out of you. That's his MO with everything. So I just I don't know. I'm like in awe right now. Like, are you sure we're talking about the same character? Are you sure you watched the same show that we did?
Yeah.
I'm like,
what the fuck? So I'm Bad Ty now.
Yes.
I'm Bad Ty.
I'm changing roles.
Taking the moniker. You are the Bad Ty.
Well, look, I did watch this at home, I guess, so I'm almost there. You know what I'm saying? On my Fire Stick, right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? No, just kidding. I didn't pay for the service. But I mean, I guess. Look, all right, discounting my issues with it, which is that, frankly, I think it may have started off just a little slow. And it didn't really. I guess there were some really dope parts about it. I think one of my favorite parts was how they kind of showed Loki what his life was, after that point, like because at that point where he took the Tesseract, he didn't know, what his lifespan was going to look like. Right. And I like the fact that they were able to show that. I love the fact that they rehashed the Phil Coulson factor, and basically kind of spoke on the fact that the whole concept of the Avengers was built behind revenge over the death of Phil Coulson in the first Avengers. And that hadn't really like seeped into my brain. Like I thought about it, but it wasn't like, the actual definitive act that it was Loki, you know what I'm saying, who basically made the Avengers. It didn't really it didn't really register up until then, Tyrone. So you were saying that there's like hella Easter eggs throughout. I saw a few of them, but I mean, drop some more on me, man. What did we miss, Tyrone?
Well, there are a few things. There are at least 2 people in the comments who haven't seen it yet, so I'm going to be very careful because they're.
Fuck all that!
All right. Y'all heard it.
Oh shit!
You better go ahead and jump out of the plane now if you're not ready to get this spoiled.
Spoiler alert.
So some of the biggest things.
Listen, hold on, real quick. Let me just say this. We discussed this and we said, yo, let's do this on Wednesday, but not spoil it, or let's do it on Thursday because we'll give people time to watch it, right?
All right.
I don't give a look. Phil, okay. Amy, what's going on, Amy? What's going on, Lisa? Lisa don't be watching shit, no way. Lisa just likes to give us something to distract her from working from home. I'm on to you, Lisa.
Lisa knows so much. Lisa knows so much about shows she's never watched just because she be hanging out with us, and I appreciate that. Now, okay, so the biggest, all of the stuff about Loki's past and about Loki's future, it was great the way they touched on it. Real quick, while we're talking about Loki and we're talking about how he's been throughout and where he is now, and how this kind of seems like a different Loki. Well, don't forget, anytime, like, Loki is always playing an angle. Like, I would be shocked if he didn't have a plan right now. Like, he's always playing an angle, and you just exposed him to a power he never knew existed. He's going to want that power. So, don't forget, like, whenever he's had those moments of like deep personal reflection. I mean, he had one with Thor when they did the Dark World, and then he stabbed Thor. You know what I mean? Like, he's not like, this guy is a great liar. So don't take anything Loki says at face value. And I love that about that character. But the biggest thing that happened, and it's the biggest thing to happen in the MCU so far, was they completely they answered questions that were brought up by the Eternals trailer. And they answered questions about, like, well, what are we going to do after Thanos? This Thanos thing was so big. Where do we go from here? The TVA, they looked at all this Thanos stuff and they were like, so? They're like, we got Infinity Stones falling out of drawers in here. Like, this is nothing. You know what I mean? Like, this, right? The universe went from this to like this, and we're getting into stuff that is so exciting. Like, we alluded to it a little earlier. Kang the Conqueror. We're getting into stuff that makes Thanos look like a tiny little grain of sand on a vast beach. And that's what's super exciting. When they revealed, it feels like, wait a minute, what's happening? Yeah, they for those who wanted to be really spoiled, they revealed literal drawers full of Infinity Stones at the TVA, and they're like, yeah, we use them as paperweights out here. Like, these things don't even really matter. Like, that's how serious this is.
Right. It didn't work at the TVA either.
Yeah, Infinity Stones don't even work there.
Yeah, no magic can work there. No magic can at all. That was the whole thing he was interested in.
Wait. No magic can work there. What?
Okay, so he had the Tesseract, right? He could have gone anywhere with the Tesseract. He couldn't.
He tried.
He tried. He couldn't go anywhere. Nothing works over there. No magic. They literally said it to them too. Your magic's not going to work here. No magical entity works here. They said it.
So think about it this way, because there's a lot of stuff they didn't even like talk about. So he's not even in a place right now. Like, he's in a, like, so when you think of existence as like dimensions, like, think of time as its own dimension. So he's like in a time right now. You know what I mean? Like, when they showed kind of where he was, that wasn't like a place. That was a time. Yeah. It's so they're going really, really abstract with this. All the clocks have like multiple hands. Like, the clocks have like, 10, 15 different hands on them, because time is just different there. Everything's different. Nothing is what we know it to be.
Owen Wilson said he aged differently. He's been there for 80 years.
Oh.
Remember? He said time works differently. I age differently here. He goes, how old are you? He goes, That's not really an important thing. Time works different.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? Like, what are you in the real world then? Like, you know, and that's when like what Tyrone is saying, that's when I realized that, like, holy shit, he's in a complete black hole alternate reality that, like, no, it's not even happening in anybody's reality. It's happening only there, and like those people control the existence of everything, literally. Like that's why that was so crazy. And that's why if you really watched a lot of Loki's demeanor, you know, when he think about it, he was like, wait a minute, where are we? When he was seeing those flying cars looking around, remember? And he like saw the futuristic, he was like, where are we? Like, and he's like, we're in the future? Remember, he was so lost looking. He was like, what the fuck? And he was like thinking, like, how do they have this technology to have flying cars? You know what I'm saying? Like where am I that they have?
Well, he just called it magic. He was like, I thought magic didn't work here. He was like, no, this is not magic.
Yeah. They like one of the and I wanted to go ahead and address this really quick because I kind of disagree with Tyrone's idea that Loki. I mean, I know that Loki is the god of mischief, but I think one of the things that we've seen that Marvel's been doing with Loki is they're really trying to make us like Loki. Like this is not a version like this. I think one of the things that we need to understand is the reason that, and I'm spoiling it. The reason that Owen Wilson wants to work with Loki is so that Loki can go around and basically either capture or kill these other Lokis that are now all in the same verse, but just in different times, I guess, in the same verse. So I think Loki seeing himself be the cause of his mother's death, I think if there's anything else that we've seen from him, he might stab his brother, but he never killed his brother. He could have killed his brother, but he's not. It's more like you're like, you antagonize me because you're my older brother, and I really want, like, I don't want you to die, but I just want you out of the way. There's a big difference that makes one is an evil, Loki that doesn't care about anybody and everything. But what I saw, and that's why I said, kudos to Tom for showing vulnerability when he saw the fact that he was the cause of his mom's death. He didn't know that. Right. This is something he didn't know. Now he does know that if he was to stay on the path that he was on, that he would have inevitably killed his mother. And living with that, I think what we saw at that moment, plus realizing your insignificance at a moment, because do you remember how once he realized that the Infinity Stones were being used as paperweights and the Tesseract was just like a toy, you know what I'm saying? Like, he realized that the powers that he's dealing with are far superior to anything he's ever seen or known, and that's coming from a place where you thought you were at the top of the food chain.
So then I ask you then, if you're Loki, do you submit to that power or do you try to acquire that power? Well, and I think Loki is trying to acquire that power. And that's why I say I don't think this is going to be a Loki hero story. I think this is going to be a Loki villain story. And if it goes that way, I'm very excited because this could really show just how formidable of a villain that Loki can be, given the right circumstances. I think this is going to be his greatest challenge. He's never backed down from a challenge ever. He's gotten his ass kicked a few times, but he's never just given up. He's always playing an angle. So I think in that moment where he realized that the universe or the reality or existence was much bigger than he thought, he was like, okay, I thought I was just going to be, the king and the ruler and the god of this little stuff over here. Now there's more than I ever realized that I could take over. Not only can I have power over beings and places, I can have power over time itself.
Yep. But doesn't it make that too easy of a plot line when he basically at the beginning of this series he says, I'm the villain, which would now Marvel's a genius, all right. Got it. We cannot discount the genius that is Kevin Feige and that was Stan Lee. But I mean, that kind of makes it too obvious. You don't think, Tyrone? You know, I mean, if he's basically saying, look, I'm the villain, that tells me that they want me to think that he's the villain, which makes them, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, all right, so you're trying to, you know,
he spoke to that, Vince. He actually spoke to that in that last scene where he was sitting in the cell talking to Owen. He basically at that point, that's when Owen said, "You're telling the truth. Now you see who you are." Mm-hmm. He said, it's not that I like doing this. I just had to.
Right.
Because they nominated me the villain.
Right.
So true. I gotta play my part. And he's realizing at that moment, and Kevin Feige is a freaking genius, because he literally gave us a reason to root and like Loki even more, because now you understand that it's not something that he's the god of mischief by name. He's a frost giant by birth. Like, all of these things are things he didn't choose to be, but it's unfortunate that it is. And now he's actually playing into what he needs to do in order to kind of like reconcile for all the other the bad shit he did in the past. Like, I think this is what we're gonna see and start and really love Loki going forward. Like, yo, it's just, I mean, it is, man. It is what it is.
What does I mean, I don't, you know, it's funny because we've been through with Loki. He's one of the few characters we've been through the mill with him on the antagonist protagonist side in all of these movies. Like, we were introduced to Loki as, we loved him. He was Thor's brother, you know, and then he was the enemy. He was the whole reason for Avengers 1, right? He brought New York. I mean, and then New York
for Thanos at the time.
New York was referenced in every single show, from Luke Cage to Iron Fist. Even in some of the cartoons, they referenced the New York incident. And so we kind of learned that Loki was, quote unquote, the villain. But then after Hulk smashed him up, he's like, I am a god, and you are beneath me, and you will. I should have put that on there, man. After that happened, we kind of was like, man, shut up, Loki. You know what I'm saying? Who is you? You know what I mean? And then fast forward, now we're at Infinity War, right? And Loki is now playing the role of the hero, so to speak, as he does sacrifice himself for our Thor, who's right here in the background. So, like, this is a really weird dynamic. It's hard to call Loki an anti-hero when he has been the villain, right? Yes. I mean, the thing about Loki that's a little different from Falcon and Winter Soldier and even Wanda to an extent is that we do not know where to place him. We know we like him, but we don't know. Like, Wanda, we're like, look, we know you love Vision. We know you got powers. At the end of the day, you're going to do what it takes to keep you, Vision, and the family together. That your whole thing is family and Vision. You know what I'm saying? Falcon, Winter Soldier. All right, Falcon, you're struggling with the concept of America. You don't want to pick up we get it, but you're good. Overall, we know you're not the villain.
Right.
Loki, we're like, I don't know. Is he gonna blow up the world and then, like, we're gonna love him because he's gonna cry at his mom's death? Like, I don't know how to react. What say you, Yaz?
I don't know. Loki is one of those, just like, he's like, that kid in the family that, is like, that, he's got potential for great things, but he's just a dumbass and he likes to be bad and like do, just stupid and reckless things. And that's Loki, he's reckless, right. And he doesn't his sense of, like, sensory with, like, right and wrong it's not defined by feelings getting hurt, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, who's the target. It's by what his MO is, you know what I'm saying? So that's Loki. It's like how can I get what I want? But, if you get screwed over in the meantime, it's like, shit happens, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you can't help but love him because you're like, damn it. Like, he's just something about him. I don't know what it is. He does that one little thing, he says that right thing. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, he's part of our friends. Then he fucks you over. So,
man,
Loki's no, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Loki's playing all y'all, and I love it. He is playing y'all.
Oh,
and
wow.
I can't wait to see how it works. I'm telling you, Loki is. He's
playing all of us. Why are you acting like you ain't a part of us?
Because I see him. I'm like, I see you, Loki. I see what you're doing.
Tyrone, how you gonna say that? And the dude gave his life. He gave it's.
Did he sacrifice himself for Thor, or was he just trying to kill? Because he already didn't like Thanos. Like he and Thanos already had a falling out because the Battle of New York went sideways, and Thanos was like, "Oh, you failed." So he was, they had a previous business relationship that went sideways, and he, his last words to Thanos were, "You'll never be a god." That was him trying to dominate Thanos with his power. Now he underestimated Thanos' power at the time. Ended up paying the price for it, but he wasn't like sacrificing his life. He was just trying to kill a dude. He's killed a lot of people. Like Loki really kills a lot of people. As he was sitting there with Morbius was like, "You're a murderer. Like you're a murderer. You hurt people. You do this a lot, and you do it, and then you bounce."
Why did they name his name Morbius? It's Mobius.
Mobius, my bad. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I was about to say that angered me because I was
like, when you said Morbius, I'm like, Neo's Morbius.
My bad. Mobius. My bad.
Now, well, I mean, can we also take some time to acknowledge the fact that it can't be easy to watch yourself die violently? You know what I'm saying? Like, holy shit. Like, I mean, if I could see myself watching the future and I'm on a deathbed with some sort of oxygen tank and I'm like, oh, dang, but to see me like have my neck broke by, a dude, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whoa. I mean, the emotions to sit there and watch you be responsible, like Ty says, for your mom's death, what that does to you, and now he's being taught that he is the variant that may have very well set the whole entire timescape askew. Why were there so many?
I would say I would do want to just really quickly correct you on that, because this variant that we're following is actually pretty, like, they were just like, this is a standard deviation, like we could just take care of this really quickly. They were just gonna kill him or reset him and that it be over with. The only reason he's still around is because Mobius is trying to play him. Mobius is trying to figure out, trying to learn more about Loki to catch Loki. So this is what I think this series, and I could be wrong, but what I think this series is going to be who's playing who the best. Is Mobius the better puppet master, or is Loki the better puppet master? Because right now they're both working angles. They're both working, Mobius is working under the illusion that Loki has been shown the light, and now he sees no other way but to help, because otherwise he just gets reset. Loki understands that Mobius is his only way out of the TVA, because he can't get out of there without being let out. So he's the only way out of the TVA, and once he gets out, then we're going to see what his true intentions are.
Phil asked a good question, and somebody, maybe if you've done research,
it's 6.
Maybe 6 episodes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so Disney's doing that whole European 6-episode thing, where they kind of drag you into it, and then they make you wait another year for the rest of it. I'm not mad at it.
As long as they're an hour long and not like 30 minutes. Like,
how long was this one? Was what, 40 minutes, right?
Roughly of actual showtime.
Yeah, it was
40 something minutes.
Happy with the time. Yeah. I was happy with the time. Like, I mean, especially when how we started, where they was like like little to nothing. But I just want to say this. Like, one of the things that Tyrone said, like, was about the him being just a standard variant. He's absolutely right. They talked about like a true variant, which would be a nexus, which can cause multiple realities. And we remember Nexus from WandaVision, and it appeared on on a couple of commercials, and it was all speaking to the fact that Wanda is actually a Nexus being. And those are Nexus beings actually don't have copies throughout the multiverse. They are one copy that can navigate all of the multiverses.
Yeah, they're consistent.
So one of the things that I bring that up for is because if ever there would be a problem, with the time variant commission or whatever they call themselves, that would be Wanda would be that problem. So because she's an anomaly. We don't know at any point what, she decides what her timetable is as it pertains to the whole universe, and they actually control the narrative. They prove that throughout the series where Loki is in the waiting area or whatever you want to call it. It's like a little subway station. And he starts talking, and then as he says something, the thing repeats it, and then it starts saying it's literally, and then he goes down that little drop chute, and he's in front of a guy, and the guy's like, sign here saying that this is everything you've ever said. And he's like, what? And as he says it, then another thing comes out. He's like, sign that. He's like, this is crazy. He's like, another one comes. So he realizes what's going on. He signs that. They shoot him down another step into a full suit. You know what I'm saying? And he's sitting there looking at the little cat, which that cat reminded me of what is it? A Flurkin?
Flurgan.
Yeah, Flurgan. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I wonder if they just keep them there. So if you don't answer the right question, you just get ate by the Flurgan. You know what I mean?
No,
so,
Tyrone.
Yeah, no, I just to the idea that so the time variance authority obviously very powerful and stuff, but another angle to that is they are currently getting their ass kicked by somebody they believe to be Loki. They're getting their ass kicked up and down the timeline, and they're having a lot of trouble with this person who right now we understand is Loki. So while Loki right now sees the TVA as an ultimate power, already we know that they are not just the ultimate power and that's the end all be all. That there are powers that we don't understand yet, we haven't been introduced to yet. The whatever variant this is, whatever Loki variant this might be, I think the number they gave him in that desert was variant L113 or something. So I mean that could be telling us that there have been 113 variants of Loki, or he is the 113th variant. But the one that they were chasing, if you remember the end of the episode, they have this kind of weapon sticking out of the ground. They scan the weapon and it's from the third millennia, so it's from the at least the year 3000 something. Which, if I am correct in this, is about the Kang the Conqueror kind of timeline era. So he's already been way into the future and is now just kind of dropping clues, just hanging out, letting hey, look at this, look what I got. I'm messing your time up. I'm messing your timeline up like crazy. It's gonna go crazy. I think the big thing that I came away from this episode with is that while we're still getting really cool personal stories about singular characters and stuff, every time we learn something new about somebody or get introduced to somebody else, there's just there are doors and windows open that will lead to who the hell knows where. And that's the thing that's excited me the most about this show specifically.
Tallene, were you about to say something?
I was just going to say that I think Tyrone has it backwards. I think we're going to figure out that the TVA is actually the bad guy. Anytime you just vaporize a guy for not having his ticket.
Yeah. What was that?
That ain't Yo, listen. I know bad guys in comic book lore, and anytime you vaporizing a human being, you are definitely a bad guy. So I think ultimately we're gonna realize that the TVA is not, as cut and dry as they seem, and Loki is going to again turn out to be the hero, because one of the things that I keep pointing to is all the series that are lined up. Now we know that there's a She-Hulk series lined up. We know that there's a Lady Loki series lined up, which means if we, what I'm saying, if they have something like that where they just are taking these younger versions of the Avengers, and they're we at some point we've heard rumblings about a Young Avengers show being done by Disney Plus and everything like that. So with all of that being said, man, like there's a lot of ways that Loki can come out on top, and at the end, as always, like you say, Tyrone, he's appears like it was a plan and everything like that. But I think Loki, from this point on, we're gonna either like Loki, and like Loki's either gonna die at some point and pass the mantle that way. But I don't think we're gonna see Loki as the bad guy villain, like killing people like that, unless they're the bad guys. I really think that's the case.
Yes, I think that Talim is on to something, but I think he's wrong about. I don't want to say he's wrong, but I want to add an extra element to it, right? Okay. I think that we're going to start to compartmentalize Lokis, right? We're going to start being like, oh, no. That was bad Loki back then. This is new, revitalized, rehabilitated Loki. That was back then, this is now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's what we're going to start doing. Like, kind of the same way we would. I mean, it's funny because we kind of like we do with Quicksilver, even though it's played by two characters, which I believe is not going to be an issue anymore because now he's going to be Kraven the Hunter. Right. But we were able to compartmentalize these two different characters, even though they're the same character. I think it's going to happen with Loki, even though he's going to be paid by Tom Hiddleston. We're going to start referring to him as like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? No, Loki from the movies, and then there's Loki from the show. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. What you think, guys?
Yeah, I definitely think we're going to start saying Loki with like a certain year. You know what I'm saying? Because if you think about it, we have different years with Lokis. We have 2012. Right. We have 17, 18, and I think 20. I don't know. But we have a bunch of different fucking years, so it's. I think we're gonna be like be jumping through time, and like we're gonna have different Lokis in different time eras, I guess you could say. So it's gonna be interesting. He's definitely the master at his craft, and that's Mischief. So I'm dumb excited to see like what's gonna happen from here, because he is playing the fuck out of Owen Wilson, and I can't even like look at him without laughing. His little Hitler stash and everything, it's just like it's so funny. His little dark beard, and his blonde hair. I just like that shit is funny as fuck. I can't get over that. But yeah, it's gonna be definitely interesting to see who's gonna outsmart who. You know what I'm saying? Like who's gonna be the victor here, and how he's gonna get out of the TVA, because we know Loki's gonna fucking escape. Like it's inevitable. Yeah. It's just how and when. That's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, or we know he already has escaped, and this is just them, because one of the things that Mobius said at one point, he said, that's what's supposed to happen. It's something that happens again and again and again because it's supposed to. So we're not talking about, they're not talking about the flow of time as a straight line. They're talking about the flow of time as it kind of repeats itself. So there's a lot of stuff happening with timelines and narratives. Like they're just trying to keep everything on one timeline, and what they're doing to do that is they're pruning and resetting, which essentially, from what I'm picking up, they haven't been certain about it, but what I'm picking up is that they just kill people and kill the timeline. They're just like, all right, everybody here dies because this isn't what we want it to be. So everybody dies. Like that's one of my favorite things about what's happening right now, is that they're just. The TVA feels that they have the authority, good or bad, right or wrong, is not really a question. They're more indifferent to that. They're like that stuff doesn't matter. If a Thanos level being wants to wipe out half life in the universe, whatever, that doesn't matter. It's on the timeline that we like, so we'll just let it happen. Like that kind of stuff. So, but when somebody makes the wrong decision, like they say it in the little cartoon, if you're late to work or you decide to do this or you start an uprising, then they're just going to end that timeline for you. They're just going to end you. Like you are reset, you are pruned. And that's what they were going to do to this Loki until Mobius was like, wait a minute, I can use this dude.
So remember when they first picked up? Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, finish.
All I was going to say was, remember when they picked up Loki when B Hunter B-15? Mm-hmm. When they picked him up and they set the charge, do you remember when he looked back?
Yes.
He looked back in horror.
Yeah,
there's a big difference. Like, in the look that he had, it was like, oh my God, you really are just killing all of them. So that when they reset the timeline, that's just like saying that timeline never existed.
Yep.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. Like
they're killing. That's why I said that we know what bad guys look like, and if you stabilize with a whole bunch of human beings and just for whatever, like Derek vaporized some people. We seen you, Derek. We seen you, vaporize. He was like, set the charge. I was like, oh, yeah. Derek, you too.
Yeah, and they said that the variant, the alleged Loki variant that they're chasing, has been stealing those charges. Anytime he's setting traps for Minutemen so he can steal those charges. Mm-hmm. And if he has the power, if he's collecting the power to wipe out timelines, what's to say he doesn't just completely wipe out what they consider the sacred timeline, or at least hold it hostage? So we're getting to some very, very, very big stuff, and it's so much fun. Mm-hmm. There's so many little references that they make to kind of talk about killing entire realities. They're just like pruning and resetting, and it's like, oh, those are nice words that you're using for complete annihilation. And,
speaking to that, Tyrone, there was a sign in that waiting area that he was in that looked like a subway station, and on the sign it said, "Behave. Don't get your clock cleaned." Yeah, like that's what it said. Yo,
oh, I didn't see that.
Yo, I know. Like this was right. This was in that little holding area. There was a minute clock, and on the sign it said, "Behave. Don't get your clock cleaned." Yeah, and like right after that, you see the guy with the thing just vaporize the dude for not having the ticket.
Yep.
He was talking greasy. He was like, "Oh, okay." Let me clean this.
Raising your voice at me.
now, hold on. Now, let's be clear about something real quick, and then Yaz, I hope you didn't forget your thought. But do we know for a fact that he was vaporized? I mean, because it's possible that he was just warped to a different time, right? Kind of like old girl when he kept doing in the time loop, and she kept going back and forth, and then she just ended up somewhere else. Is it possible that maybe they just sent him back and that he's just somewhere different now? I don't know if they.
No. Yo, listen. Owen told Loki, like, I just took you from where they was about to kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Like, this is not first of all, when they like that charge, the same way you saw that dude vaporize is the same way that charge vaporizes people. Mm-hmm. It don't send you to another time. It just makes sure you just never was here. You was because you never were.
And if it did send people to back to another timeline, then what you're doing is you're sending a variant copy to another timeline and creating another paradox. So you have to just erase it.
Wow, because I was gonna say, like, in this realm, killing you doesn't mean killing you in your entirety. It's just one of you that exists in this particular timeline. So when they get rid of you, you still exist somewhere, at least up until that point. But as of that moment, the view of this timeline ceases to exist. While
there's so many like different ways you can go with it, and that's the best thing about like timelines and time travel and stuff. But I'm gonna stop talking so Yaz can share.
Yeah, what were you about to say, Yaz?
Okay, so I just have like a quick question for everybody on the panel and like for you guys too. So when I was watching, I kind of got some vibes from another show that's on Netflix that we're all waiting for it to come back. I don't know if you guys remember the Umbrella Academy.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the whole time, like the whole
yeah.
Okay, so what the hell was their names again? It was like
I forgot what they were, but I remember there was like an organization that was kind of, in a lot of ways. Yeah,
they're at the time, organization, you know what I'm saying? And they were there, like they were deleting timelines and stuff like that too. Like we're doing the same, very similar shit. But my thing was do you remember the guy and the black lady, how they like were a pair kind of, you know what I'm saying? And like, they're like peaches and herb, I don't know. I don't remember her name, but I know his name was like Herb.
Peaches and herb. I like that. That's that new 112 song.
Example, okay. I'm just saying, like, y'all know what I'm talking about, okay? Anyway, so I just like felt like the Ruby from Lovecraft Country, she and Owen Wilson were kind of like them.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I feel like it's like kind of playing like it's similar, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I don't know. I want to see where this goes.
You know what movie came to mind for me, Tylene? Tenet. The movie Tenet came to mind for me because I was thinking about how in Tenet there's this whole reverse forward. I don't know if y'all saw Tenet with Denzel with Denzel Washington's son.
Yep.
But in Tenet, like there's this whole inverse, multiple reality thing going. It's very Inception, very unnecessarily complex. I would dare to say it didn't really make much sense at all. But but in there's this concept of being able to manipulate, the future, and the future is at war with the past is the whole concept of it, which is kind of cool. The concept, but the execution of it was done in a manner that was so convoluted. I didn't really understand it. But in this realm, once again, we're faced with folks who are messing with the timeline. And the thing that I think that if there's one saving grace as it pertains to my perception of this show is that I love the concept, the notion of Loki battling his own self, which is kind of what happened. I'm a spoiled Tenet for y'all, but in Tenet, there's a scene where he fights himself, but he doesn't know it's himself until the very end. You know what I'm saying? And I like that, which kind of leads me to believe, because it feels a little too simple to make this character, whoever this dark figured character is in this scene, it seems a little too simple to make that old Loki, right? Like whoever that is with the land. Who do we think that is, Tali? Who is that, bro?
Ahsoka Tano. I'm just kidding.
I mean, to be honest with you, I think it's Lady Loki. I think it's Lady Loki. I'm just gonna shoot that out there because I think like again we're gonna get a dose of her in this series, as we've seen in each of the series thus far. Is kind of giving us some of the young Avengers. You know what I'm saying? So or speculatively, So
okay.
But I this for me is just so dope because again I see the range from Tom. Like it's just like the fact that we're over here debating whether or not he's a good guy, bad guy. That to me is just indicative of his great acting skills because we don't know. Like he's likable. Like you know what I'm saying? Like he's if he is a villain, we like him. We're on the side of the villain. We will root for Loki to win in most situations. So I think that says a lot about how his character is developing. And I wanted to say this last point. This version of Loki is the only Loki in all of the time loops that actually saw him being the cause of his mother's death. I think that needs to really be focused on because killing your mom, he look, everybody said it. She might be the only person you ever loved. You ever really loved is your mom. Like they didn't even think he really loved his dad like that, but we saw him shed tears for that too. Right. So, but his mom, like that was the one person who said that was the only person he ever really loved.
So, do you think that at any point in time, Loki is going to have his own worm baby like he did in Ragnarok?
Okay, hold on. Wait a minute. Can we just go back to this? I watched that whole season.
Okay.
What in the fuck did y'all have?
Should we wait because we're about 10 minutes away from an hour?
Saturday,
should we wait?
Man.
Yeah, we have to wait for Saturday.
That dog, don't do it right now.
Right, well, I will dive into that on Saturday. Stay tuned. Oh my God.
Yeah.
We're gonna need that energy on Saturday.
Bill's got it. I'm gonna have multiple bitches of the week on Saturday.
Come on, man. Yo, so you watch both seasons, yes?
Both seasons, and Austin came in when I was finishing. He goes, "You actually finished?" And I was like, "Yep." And he was just like, "Oh, by your face, that does not look good." I said, "Oh, I can't wait to dive into this." And he was like, "I was like, the guys were saying I had to watch this. I watched it, and I have some comments." And he was like, "What happened?" I was like, "I don't even want to go into them. We'll dive into that on the show because they were interesting." And he was just like, "Okay." And I was just like, "You missed some weird shit." And he was just like, I'm glad I didn't watch it. He was like, "Tell the guys fuck that shit. I wasn't gonna watch it. The mouse will match up. I can't do it. Like I just can't. And I was just like, oh my god. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a shame.
It was interesting. I can't wait to give you my my thesis on the show. Oof.
All right, fine, man. Be like that. Well, I didn't. We ain't gonna talk about Ragnarok too rough. Even though I think that obviously these two stories collide. And one of the things about Loki is that he is not some comic book character. Loki, Thor, the whole concept of Asgard, Odin. All of these are Norse mythologies, mainly made popular by Norwegian mythology. So these are characters based on actual beliefs from a long time ago. So the beliefs have, held water. And even in that show Ragnarok, they discussed the concept, like Phil was saying in the comments, about Loki being kind of quote unquote gender fluid and, kind of being able to morph into, he can be, he actually can have he and she pronouns if he wanted to. So the concept of Lady Loki, which I'm not too keen on, is fascinating because I'm curious as to how a Lady Loki comes about. Is it a different person? Is it Loki? Is it Loki's own offspring? Is he an fission generated type of cellulitosis, mitosis type, where splits his own self and he doesn't have to have any reproductive interaction with anybody else? I'm interested in that. That's kind of weird. But what? Go ahead.
I was going to interrupt quickly because it is now Marvel MCU canon that Loki is gender fluid. That was revealed in this episode by paperwork that had that Loki's like apprehension form or whatever. Yep. It said sex and it said fluid. So that is now MCU canon.
It was on the paperwork. Yeah,
you can see it on the paperwork.
It was on the paperwork.
It told that he was a frost giant. He was from Lodenheim.
It said all of that.
It said all of that.
Yep.
In Loki.
And Loki, yep.
We gotta rewatch.
How did y'all see that?
Because when you're paying attention, like with the goggles, yeah, man. You got we doing it because we know we come in here to talk about.
I saw some of that stuff. But I didn't see the gender fluid. I didn't see the fluid part of that.
It's in there.
Yes, he is gender fluid. They made that very, very clear. Yes.
Took me 6 hours to watch a 40-minute episode of Loki.
Look at these nerds up in here, man. Wow. So that means we could learn about that as well. Like what that also means that Loki may have a man in this. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Loki might have a bunch of all kinds of beings. Like Loki doesn't mess around.
Loki could end up with Rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy. Hey, he could be with Groot.
They also touched on the fact that Ultron or Vision couldn't get in the building. Like you remember through the processing station, he asked him, "Are you a robot?" He was like, "What? People don't know if they're robots." He was like, "I don't know." He said, "What happened?" He said, "What happened if I walk through?" He said, "It'll melt you from the inside out." Now hurry up and walk through it. So that's just letting you know right there that if you're like inorganic. Mm-hmm. Or any type of robot, anything like that. Yeah, you're not getting through. Wow. No type of
you're right about that,
through.
I love it, and that also opens up the door possibly for LMDs, which are life model decoys. Which there are a lot of threads in cartoons and in comics where people are replaced by android versions of themselves that don't even know that they're LMDs. Like they operate in the place of that human. It's already been mentioned once in the MCU by Tony Stark, and now this is a possible second mention of LMDs. So keep an eye out for that.
You know what I did? You know what was very clear and what I was happy about is I'm always in love with how Marvel the synergy that they protrude in that they clearly right now I'm starting to think that we're going to get a Doctor Strange appearance. There's so many mentions of the multiverse in this episode, which builds right into Doctor Strange's movie. That's the sequel of his movie that's coming out, right, which will also evidently star Scarlet Witch. So, I mean, the way that they tie these things together, man, is so remarkable, Brad. So I think that this is the introduction to the multiverse, which is weird because I was expecting that to be through WandaVision, right?
Oh, were you?
Well, yes, you touched on something. This actually even seeps into the concept of the Spider-Verse, being that we don't know for a fact that the Spider-Verse doesn't get spawned from the multiverse, which the Spider-Verse really is just the multiverse, but just centered around Spider-Man.
We do actually now, because what they did was they elaborated on the story of how it all happened. At one point there was a war, and these three sentient beings came, and they're the timekeepers. They're the ones who came and decided that they wanted to just combine all of the multiverses into one. So that's what Marvel just let you know. Marvel just let you know that all of the multiverses that were at one point are now all compiled into one multiverse, which means we can bring you X-Men, we can bring you Fantastic Four, we can bring you anybody we want to bring you, because they are now all in a place where we can access them. So that came up. Did any of you also catch that there was a scroll in that building?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there was. Yeah. And that was like checking in too when he walked in. It was like
the TVA.
That's what I'm like, yo, man. So Secret Wars is on its way. We know that's coming, and you know who that's bringing everybody. So like, yo, this is what I'm saying, man. Like this Loki series, we know that this kind of falls, rolls right into Black Widow, which then rolls right into the sequence of movies that Marvel has planned for us, all lined up with these series, and I'm so excited, man. This Loki series is dope, man.
Yeah.
Well, we're not here for the whole long raw. We just wanted to come and pop up and talk about Loki real quick, but we're going to continue this discussion on Saturday. Yes. And guess who's joining us this Saturday? Star of the Loki series himself, Mr. Derek Russo, on-screen aficionado, officially in the MCU. Actually, as you can see here, also in his his costume from the set. I don't know if he. I don't want to. I know he said fuck all that for spoils and all that, but I don't know what his true fate is in this. It was, it's kind of hinted at, but it wasn't really. I mean. With all of the, with all of the ambiguity, you don't know for a fact if he could just reverse and still be alive. So, I mean, still be, you know what, whatever, man. Look, just watch the show and you'll understand all of that. But yeah, man, this Saturday, D. Russo will be a member of our broadcast.
Yes, sir.
It will be an interesting broadcast because we will be, in and out, some of us. But yeah, man, definitely tune in this Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern time on any of our platforms. That's YouTube, Facebook, and also you can listen to us on iHeart Radio and Apple Podcasts and
just click the link tree.
Follow, like, and subscribe. That's what he's trying to say, y'all.
all that, man. But we got to pay some bills, man. So some of us got to get back to work, and some of us got to get back to sleep. So we'll go ahead and we'll just say peace to y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Please share this and let y'all friends know that we're gonna be coming back live on Saturday. Unless anybody had anything on the way out. Anybody got anything to say? Anybody? We good?
Nah, we'll say it on Saturday.
Right. Make sure y'all tune in. Hit that notification. And Yaz is coming through with the bitch of the week this week. And I can't wait
because I missed last week. Don't worry.
She giving a double dose. Double doses.
Correct too, yo. I think I know who it is, but it's all right, man. We're gonna wait to see who Yaz's bitch of the week. Tune in this Saturday. This is the new Blerd Order. Let's do it.
Fighter 2, I just really hate Zangief, only Ken and Ra. You, I find it hard to be Blanca, keep a wee ninja hanging and the uncle album banging. If you negative in energy, then stay out the vicinity. Yeah, them niggas over there.